Hello, hello.
I'm here.
Oh,
Hey, mamas. Hey, y'all.
I knew Dez was gonna bring it. Okay, okay, let me introduce you to this woman. Okay, this is a whole lot of women that you are about to experience and receive from, and she entirely deserves an epic introduction. So, Dez Davis is someone that I actually met through Lion. So all of you met Lion yesterday. And in the field of full transparency, which is what I am so fully fucking here for, I want you all to know that Dez was one of those women that when I met her, I was hella intimidated by this woman. Like, I was intimidated. I was like, holy fuck. I met her in LA and I was like, this woman like walks in, like cue the wind in slow motion. I mean, literally looks like the goddess embodiment of swag, like spiritual swag dripping from the inside out. So much confidence. And on top of that, the level of presence that this woman meets you with, full presence, is so powerful. Like, you just know this woman is a powerhouse. This woman knows how to hold space, and this woman is liberated as fuck. Like, literally just being in her presence. And so, yeah, like literally, Dez was one of those people I was like, oh my God, like, is she even gonna want to like talk to me? Like, am I even cool enough to like, for her to be interested? And I love sharing these stories, you guys, because sometimes we, it might look one way, but on the inside, we might be showing up one way, like, hey girl, I'm Aveyah, hey, I'm Dez. But on the inside, I'm like, oh damn, like, am I cool enough to hang with this chick? And that was my initial experience with this epic queen. And I literally knew when you were gonna like turn on your camera. I was like, oh, she's literally just gonna bring it. She's just gonna bring all of her to this space. And I also want to share that Dez has supported me in very crucial moments in my life that has really allowed me to receive from her in moments that I was honestly really deeply struggling. One of them was when she volunteered to come to, I had a place in LA. She literally volunteered, brought a girlfriend, a soul sister with her who did not know me, and volunteered to come help me move. She actually quite literally packed every single item in my walk-in closet. Like, this was not like a tiny 2-door kind of closet. Like, there's a hella shit in there. Like, and she showed the fuck up with gifts, I must add, with gifts and flowers, and she showed up to fucking help me pack the entire walk-in closet with all my shit, and with joy, pleasure, reverence, sisterhood, like, I fucking got you, I am here. That was one of my first experiences of Dez. And more recently, I had the honor and privilege to receive from her in what very much felt like a one-on-one session for me, in when she was helping me as I was moving through my recent breakup. And the liberation, all the energy that was able to move through the direct channel, like how piercing she was in her ability to see the blind spots, support me there, and literally allow energy to flow where it felt very constricted, was literally heaven sent at that moment. Heaven sent. And so it was so natural for me to ask Dez today to join us, for her to gift us with her magic, her presence. Her presence alone is so fucking activating, you guys. And for her to come share with you so much of the magic that I have been able to experience and receive from this woman. So without further ado, I would love to introduce you to Dez Davis Dez. Welcome.
Oh, sweet sister, that was beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this gorgeous introduction and for the invitation to be in space and presence with all of you. Hello, radiant feminine beings.
Thank you for being here, Des. And I would love for you to introduce yourself in your own words. I really introduced you through my own experience of you, and I'd love,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. I love a real time off the heart introduction. I think that, you can read my bio anywhere, you know what I mean? But bios sometimes don't capture the sustenance beyond the credentials, right?
Mhm.
And ultimately it's our day-to-day experience that is giving us a breath of efficacy and solidity, and is constantly nurturing the who I am and what I'm devoted to and what I'm here to give and what I'm here to contribute and receive in equal measure to that contribution. So with that said, at a just straight, this is what I do level, I'm a coaching consultant. I've been working with socially and spiritually conscious entrepreneurs for the past 8 years now. And in 2016, I started a very specific frequency of coaching and consulting that had a lot to do with emotional freedom, financial empowerment, and conscious life design. And that is what the Rich Rich Life is about. Those are the pillars through which I weave in business coaching, and I also weave in ways in which we can be in relationship to our devotion that nurtures a path of liberation, right? And so I am, after 8 years of doing this work, currently in a place of reevaluation, as I think a lot of us are after the last 3 years, and some of the hardened lessons that have come from that is we're redefining what our sense of success is, and we're redefining our quality of self and quality of beingness as we're doing this incredible work in the world. And so as I am in a great transition, I'm at the precipice of new vision, and I am welcoming opportunities like this to start opening up dialogue that is exploratory and is not so held in definition, but instead is creating spaciousness to prepare ourselves for the process of redefinition, right? And that's what I think, you know what I'm saying? And to really prime ourselves and open ourselves up to that process. And so that's what I feel like I'm here to offer today and hold space. And I love a good Q&A. I mean, we're learning things constantly, but there's something about that real time exchange that I just love so much. So I'm looking forward to our conversation, also to getting to know you all who feel like having conversation with me directly during this time.
Yes. Oh my God. Give me some snaps in the house if you are feeling this woman right now. I swear to you, receiving from her, it literally feels the same way. Like she literally does. You have a way with words and the way you frame something in such a like precise way. And it just like lands. Like it lands. And I knew when I was feeling it, I was seeing other people who were like, oh,
Yes.
oh, thank you. Whoa, that was already such a transmission right there. Des, I would love for you to speak in. So our whole theme today, specifically, and for this whole week really, is we're weaving in the heart, the core of our devotion. And I was sharing today how that really has been my North Star. Like where is my devotion, especially in moments that are super terrifying and chaotic in life, having that devotion to our North Star and choosing to move in that direction in the no matter whatness of life. And I know for a fact you have literally created an amazing empire. You are someone who is so well respected and honored. And I would love for you to share what that piece of devotion has looked like for you to literally come into the creatorship of the woman that you are today.
well, this is good. I'm going to take a moment. And I through when I'm channeling, I tend to, if it's not immediate, just take a moment of silence to kind of calibrate to the response that wants to come through. So if you see me get into a moment of quietness, that's just me calibrating. You know, I experience devotion as something that has a texture of unfoldment. You can never quite hold all of your devotion. It's just that big. It's just that infinite. It's just that huge. Right. And so for me, a lot of my embodied experience of accessing devotion, using its divine intelligence and its as a technology for guidance, using it as a pathway into actualization, right? I've had to learn how to tolerate the sensation of simultaneously knowing and not knowing. I've had to learn to tolerate the sensation of holding multiple truths, right? And therefore being multidimensional, and learning how to not engage these aspects of myself in a way that created conflict between them, but instead created confluence between them. And that too is not like a one-time activity, right? The thing about devotion being an unfoldment is that it's existing on the continuum, the infinitum, right? And so within the experience of being devoted, having devotion, and then leveraging that sacred technology is also to be able to know when to surrender solidity, knowing when to stand in it or activate a solidity, and kind of just having this, as we would call feminine essence, to lean into in those no matter what moments, come what may moments, I don't know what's going on moment, what if this happens, those types of things that tend to can sometimes knock us off our axis of devotion, or cause us to question our devotion. But what's beautiful about devotion is that, being that it is so infinite, you're truly never without it, right? Devotion takes so many shapes and forms that you could not take it away from yourself, even in moments when you try inadvertently, you know what I mean, consciously or unconsciously, what have you, right? So it's this process of like revelation and reverence. You must be able to, I have learned to hold being blessed and being the blessing, right? I've also learned not to put things in conflict with those ultimate truths about who I am, what I am, and then the emanation that of that devotion is for me.
I would love for there. I'm in this moment right now, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go watch this replay again, because there's a moment. I know you guys feeling me too. Everyone's like, oh fuck yeah, you need to hit pause right there to just like literally let that permeate. I would love for you to speak into that. You were speaking into not allowing, what did you say? Something like not allowing the contradictions to affect your truths of your being. That, it's like I can feel the potency there. Can you expand on that?
Yes. I was thinking about this earlier, in terms of, And in this moment, like the use of the word contradiction, when things happen in contradiction to our devotion. And in this moment, I'm almost feeling invited to challenge whether or not our challenges are really contradicting our devotion. Like, what happens when we soften into challenges as a part of the refinement, right? Or what happens when we soften our challenges into the context of what is sacred, what is holy, right? What is a part of devotion? What is, can the things that are in contradiction also be in service to us being congruent with ourselves? You know what I mean? Like, what causes more pain? Labeling contradiction as contradiction and feeling contradicted, and remaining in that space, you know what I mean? Or engaging contradiction in a way that results in congruence.
Engaging in contradiction in a way that leads to congruence.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Chink.
God, Jesus.
It's kind of that piece. You know what I mean? It's like, so the thing that we're in devotion to is also in devotion to us. And so anything that's happening within the realm or the space of our devotion and our pathways to actualizing or expressing that devotion is also in devotion to actualizing us. And so when we engage our contradiction with the intent to find congruence within it, we expand. That's a loving thing.
Yes.
That's a loving thing. I think what becomes really painful is a life of avoidance, right? Versus a life of alchemy, which is more endogenous to us, which is more inherent to us, the alchemy. Right? And so, like, I love the word contradiction sort of portaled us into a conversation around the unconditionality of congruence, the unconditionality of harmony, the unconditionality of our devotion, the mutual beneficial nature of it, the symbiosis of it, that there's really nothing that can put us in permanent separation from our devotion and from the actualization on the other side of that devotion and during that devotional place of being and doing and having.
I love that. There's nothing that can actually ever put us on the other side of our devotion.
And like, sometimes that's just like, you use the term North Star. Sometimes that's just the North Star that gets you through the night. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes these things, the awareness precedes the actual embodiment, the actual feeling state of it, the actual whatever it is. That's not separation. That's on your way to. Right? Like, I'm on my way. That way, these positive feeling states are not like elusive and these things that we earn because we do our shadow work. You know what I mean? Or like, the destination is just this continuous joy that is never challenged, never disrupted, never contradicted. Like, that is small life. You must be pain avoidant.
Yes.
In order, you understand what I'm trying to say? And that's not the power spot. That's where we oftentimes will feel punished by life when we're viewing it through that lens.
So one of the things I love is I love surrounding myself with people who are also very different from me, because I receive so much from people different from me. And I love, Dez, how you just like cut right through, like, that is not where your power lives. Like, No, like really just saying it like it is for what it is.
And also like, feel free to like abdicate being empowered all the time. Like, it's okay. You can like let that go consciously. You don't have to like strive to feel empowered all the fucking time. Like, let these things be flexible, let them be malleable, let them come in, let them come out, let yourself be that multidimensional, but like hold yourself at the foundation that like union is all there is, harmony is all there is, oneness is all there is. So you are never really truly lost or in separation from those things, but you can explore feeling lost. You can explore feeling in separation from those things. You can take, you can like put a little injunction on being like, on feeling high vibrational, right? And let underworld serve you.
Oh,
I think that is portal into a sense of unconditionality that feels really reliable.
Yes. I love this piece around unconditionality that you're bringing forth, because I feel like so true. There's like sometimes this perception that part of this devotional path is the constant striving and efforting and must be in my power, must be, when in moments being in your power might be literally being in a fetal position and bawling eyes out with your teddy, and that's the most empowered version of yourself, is allowing yourself to go there. Yes. And I love how you're bringing that unconditionality to it. Yes, like so feeling that.
Yes. I think that's how we give ourselves the permission to prosper. When we let unconditionality serve us, and we don't get conditional with ourselves, or we come back to the center of that truth, right? That this challenge is also loving, that this challenge is developmental for me in some way, shape, or form, that maybe I could ask for, and maybe it just goes beyond me. This request is so sacred. This inquiry from my soul is so holy that it goes beyond me. I cannot possibly hold all of it. Going back to sort of what we said with devotion, we cannot, it's like a headlight in the dark where you can only see but maybe 20, 30 feet ahead of you at times. I think that the pain comes in to yearning that you could see the whole fucking thing, but really you have 30 feet of light. Be with that 30 feet of light. Do you know what I mean? Instead of collapsing into the separation from this level of light that you should be able to have and would make everything so much easier, and all this other stuff. And it's like, but what happens when you let yourself hold the streamline of light, the streamline of what's ahead of you that is clear to you, right? And also open up your faculties to seeing in the dark, to navigating this dark space, to establishing a center point of safety, sense of self, stability, and security right here. Right? Sometimes that is the divine prompting that takes place. And that, again, when you move through it, I don't give a fuck if it's conscious, unconscious, whatever, you just move through it. At some point, you experience yourself expanded. And you recognize, oh shit, that was the point. That was also the point. And then that brings you to an awareness of how loving source and life itself actually is, that you don't need to micromanage every expansion. You don't need to micromanage every part of your devotion or the execution on your devotion. You couldn't if you needed to. On my stories today, I put something, one of my old posts that said, like, I don't need to know everything because there's an everything that knows me. It's that texture. I think that this is like what we're talking about here, I think is where I access or source confidence from. Right? Is just that. And my willingness to perceive the loving nature of all of my life experiences. It doesn't matter if they're hard. What matters is that I'm able to anchor into them from a perspective of this is loving.
Oh, this is so next level profound, Dez. I am receiving so much. The chat is literally
glad.
chills and tingles, Heather says. Wow, Monica says, wow, this feels like veils are getting lifted. Amelia's like, this is everything.
Good, yeah, good.
Ooh.
Yes.
Whoa.
That is where we open up to co-creation. 100%. Yes. Whoa. Totally sitting down.
Oh. Okay, I have this piece that was lingering since before that I feel more potency because I've felt it in the contradiction and just like exploded into this massive act.
Do it.
I would love for you to speak into, because I know what you're speaking to, and I feel like there's even more codes for me to receive there, for us all to receive. When you spoke about being able to hold the paradox, like the this, the that, where at times it feels like, it can feel like, wow, I could see how this feels loving, and at the same time, my heart is shattering in a million pieces and my life is falling apart. And what does that mean? I know for me, this has been a massive part of my own union with myself. And I'd love to hear what you have to say in the expansion of our ability to hold what might feel like contradicting truths or experiences.
Can you ask the question again?
I'm curious what your experience has been like in expanding your capacity to hold what at times feels like a paradox.
I'm actually in one of those times right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm in the soup, baby. I am 2.5 years out from like blowing up my life as I knew it, right? So in 2020, there was the pandemic. I also had a pandemic divorce, and you know, my business exploded, and this, like, there were a lot of things that were going on that just had their own unique textures. They weren't necessarily contradicting each other. Like, the divorce didn't contradict the business success because they don't need to mirror each other. My arms of my life, areas of my life, get to be sovereign territories, sovereign realms within me that get to each operate within their own ecosystem and together create an economy of care that I exist within, right? And compassion and creativity and prosperity and all of these other things. So I'm living today the 2.5 years later experience of my tower moment, right? And things crashing down and all of this. And I remember in fetal, all 3 of my dogs licking my face, like, is she okay? Like, you know, just this moment. And I remember thinking to myself, my North Star at the time was, one day this is going to be over and my life is going to be radically different. And I have no idea what it's going to look like, but it won't be this thing that I've been suffering to maintain and that I've been operating through outdated and or false loyalty vows in order to maintain this paradigm of being and living and havingness. And it's going to take time. And God has blessed it. And it's my honor. And it's my honor to move through this. Some things are worth weeping for, honey. So yeah, it's going to suck. Like some of this is going to suck. And in addition to, there was something about that wilderness that felt like liberation to me. Right. And so I'm holding now the reality on the other side, the positive results. Some of them I intended, some of them I wanted for myself and didn't know if it would happen, like a beautiful relationship and certain things. All these years later, and I'm also holding some of the emotional scores, some of the somatic scores of this life that's still phasing out of my tissues, that my cells are still turning over. But I am, by all intents and purposes, like living day to day a different life. Right. And so one thing that I learned engaging a process consciously that I knew was going to take maybe years to get on the other side of. And sometimes we'll have this frame of mind with business, right? Like we know I'm building a business 3 years from now, things are going to look different. When it comes to sort of like the conscious life design processes for ourselves, you know, we need the ability to fuck around and find out. We really genuinely need the ability to not assert or project an isness onto something that is in transition. That is inappropriate.
Oof. Whoa.
We need the ability to fuck around and find out over time, over iterations of ourselves, over sort of the ebb and flow of life taking place over time. We need the ability to find out. We need the ability to tolerate the sensation of being in a liminal space. We need to be able to do transition with a quality of presence that doesn't create urgency. Because that urgency will take us out of our bodies, will bring us into the mind, trying to solve, trying to get ahead of, trying to whatever. And that's where we will project into future and use our future as refuge for now. Or we'll use our past as scapegoat. Right. And so I've learned that holding multiple truths means allowing for the sovereignty of all aspects of self to operate on their own timing. Right. Like I'll say to my clients a lot of times, like, your trauma does not need to get in the way of securing your bags, your financial abundance, and vice versa. And your financial abundance cannot take more precedence in healing your shit. But also, as you know, and you might have heard me say, like, too much healing makes a dull witch. Right? We cannot just be so focused on what isn't yet, on what didn't go, on what hasn't been, on whatever else, that we then become overdeveloped in our capacity to heal and do the shadow work, and almost underdeveloped in the ability to just fuck with ourselves heavy, no matter what's happening in the moment. We also need the ability to fuck with ourselves heavy right here, right now. If I don't do another fucking thing, if I don't fix this, if I don't initiate this, if I don't take this on, if I don't move this forward, I am enough. I am still enough. It is enough. That is all. And just to be able to receive from that simplicity, from the isness, right? Of that.
Oh. Can you all give me some snaps in the house if you can feel that? Woman, holy. Whoa. Yes. Chat is also going wild. Wow. Just wow from Amelia. Mossy saying, dang, amen to that. Woo, Dez, I literally feel like we could all just keep receiving from you. I'm sitting here and like low key inside myself, I'm like, oh my God, this woman's actually my friend. Like, this is so cool. Like, there's like a little me on the inside that's like, I can't believe like I manifested this level of soul sisterhood because, whoa, like, oh, woman.
Thank you.
Does we're on time right now. And well, first off, I really just want to thank you for saying yes to this.
Absolutely.
For also saying yes to me, woman, because like,
absolutely, baby.
Girl just fucking pops into my DMs after a post, like a really traumatic post, and she's like, babe, do you need me? I got you. Tuck, like, just thank you for being that type of soul sister. And literally thank you for inspiring the fuck out of everyone here and on the replay, hundreds more on the replay. And I know everyone here wants to know how they can stay connected with you, how they can consume all of that you are offering. Please let us know. So yes, we can all
absolutely. Well, we all know Instagram is a highway of connection and connectivity. So please feel free to hit me up on Instagram at The Rich Witch Life. Send me a DM. Let me know if there was a particular gem that resonated from today. And then also I've provided a little extra special love, a little TLC session that you all can schedule with me if you wanted some one-on-one. I would love to be able to hold that space and really dial in at a more specific level with you one-on-one if you would like. And you know, it's my pleasure, it's my purpose. And it's also, it is a part of my like studentry to have these kinds of conversations. You know, I've really divested from the idea that expertise needs to subscribe to certain metrics. What it needs to look like or not look like or whatever that whole thing is. And I'm in a space right now of, again, finding out over time what the next level of transmission is, right? And so these conversations are part of that finding out. And so I say that to preface my thanks to all of you for being a part of my journey of fucking around and finding out. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can't wait to actually get into this chat a bit. Yes.